Jesus is here. Yes, at this very moment, he is near, not far away in some unreachable heaven, but right beside you, closer than the breath in your lungs, ready to speak, ready to comfort, ready to carry what you no longer can. He sees what others miss. He knows the weight you've been holding, the silent battles, the restless thoughts, the weariness no one else seems to understand, but he does. And tonight, he is whispering, you don't have to carry this alone anymore. Lay it down with me. Before we begin, just pause, close your eyes if you can. Let your shoulders relax. Let your thoughts slow. You are not here by chance. You were meant to receive peace tonight. If this moment brings calm to your heart, if his word touches something deep within you, we humbly ask you to subscribe and help us reach our first 100 subscribers. It may seem small, but your one click helps us bring this sacred rest to many more weary souls. And if you feel led, let us know in the comments, where are you listening from? What time is it where you are? We would love to pray over your name, your city, your night. Now breathe. Let the presence of Jesus wrap around you like a gentle blanket. Let your soul be still. And now, with a heart fully surrendered, we begin. Even before the sun set, before the stillness of night began its quiet descent upon the earth, the heart of the Father was already near you, watching, waiting, and inviting you into the secret place of his peace. There is no burden too great that you must bear it alone, no pain so hidden that he cannot see, no silence so deep that he cannot fill it with his voice. And tonight, just as you are, weary or hopeful, anxious or at rest, filled with faith or gasping for it, he welcomes you. For the eyes of the Lord roam throughout the earth, not to measure the strength of man, but to draw near to those whose hearts are open, whose spirits are bowed, and whose souls quietly cry out for mercy. And though you may not feel it, though your surroundings may not show it, you have never, for even a single heartbeat, been forgotten. You are not a passing thought. You are not one among many. You are his wholly, completely, and eternally. Let your soul hear this now. The King of all creation knows your name, and he speaks it with tenderness. Before you laid your head to rest, before the last of the day's light faded, he was already here, not in judgment, not in condemnation, not with demands or disappointment, but with arms wide open, with presence so gentle it cannot be forced, only receive. He has not come to lecture you for your worries or rebuke you for your doubts, but to remind you that even in your uncertainty, his love does not waver. Even in your exhaustion, his strength does not run out. You are not forgotten when your prayers feel unanswered. You are not forgotten when the silence of heaven lingers longer than you hoped. The Lord is not deaf to your voice, nor blind to your pain. He is a God of timing, not absence, a God of process, not abandon. When he waits, it is not because he withholds, it is because he is preparing something far greater than you could imagine. And in that space, that waiting, that wondering, that aching, he is closer than your own breath. He collects your tears as treasure. He holds your weariness as worship. And he leans near to your whisper, even when your voice is barely more than a sigh. So now, in this sacred moment, as the stillness wraps around you like night's own blanket, allow yourself to fall back into the heart of the one who has never let you go. Let your thoughts drift, not into anxiety, not into fear, but into remembrance, into the memory of who he is, the God who split seas to deliver, the God who whispered into the dark void and formed light, the God who walked in gardens and wept beside the God who chose the cross rather than live forever without you. This God, your God, is not far off. He is not watching from a distance. He is not busy tending to greater things. He is here right now, with you beside you, whispering your name, brushing away every lie that told you he had forgotten. Let that truth pierce deeper than doubt. Let it anchor you when the winds of circumstance howl loud. Let it become your breath, your resting place, your nights. For even when you walk through the valleys that others cannot see, the valleys of the heart, the caverns of worry, the tunnels of pain, he walks beside you with steady footsteps and eyes full of mercy. And even if no one else notices your tears, the Lord does. He does not look away. He does not brush aside your aching. He bends low to hear your cry. He wraps himself in the silence with you, not to escape it, but to fill it with the warmth of his nearness. His presence does not need to be loud, to be real. It is gentle, but it is holy. It is quiet, but it is mighty. Rest now in the assurance that you do not need to perform for God. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to earn what was freely given. He is not a master who demands your perfection. He is a Father who delights in your presence. And even if all you bring him tonight is a tired mind and an anxious heart, still, he calls it beautiful. Still, he calls it welcome. Your value was not measured by your victories today. Your worth is not dependent on your strength. The cross of Christ has already declared the verdict over your life. Loved, chosen, redeemed, treasured, held, and not for a single second has that ever changed. So do not fear the darkness, for his light shines brighter still. Do not fear the silence, for his voice moves like wind, unseen but undeniable. Do not fear the future, for the God who stands outside of time is already there, waiting with open arms and plans soaked in grace. Tonight, as you lie in your bed, you are not overlooked by heaven. The same God who watches over galaxies bends down to watch over your breath. The same voice that commands stars into motion whispers now over your rest. You are mine, he says. You are not forgotten. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. Though others may walk away, though seasons may shift, though feelings may rise and fall, his love remains a constant tide, forever pulling you back to shore. And even when you feel far, even when shame or fear whispers that he has turned away, remember this: it is not your faith that secures him to you, it is his promise. It is not your grip on him but his grip on you. He is the shepherd who leaves the 90. He is the father who runs to the prodigal. He is the friend who stays through storms. And when the noise of life quiets down, when the distractions are finally put to rest, you will hear him not in thunder, not in fire, but in a whisper that says, I have never left your side. This is not the end of your story. This is not the final word. The valley you walk through will not be your home. The silence will not last forever. The struggle will not define you. The pain will not claim you. For the author of your life has written redemption on every page, and his pen is not yet lifted. So now, breathe again, not shallow, but deep. Breathe with faith, breathe with surrender, breathe with peace, for the God who formed you knows how to hold you, and he is holding you now. You are not forgotten. Before you even speak a word, before your mouth opens to form a thought, before you begin to reach for understanding, or attempt to explain what you cannot express, the Lord already knows what you carry. Not just what you show the world, not just what you allow others to see, but the deep things, the things buried beneath the surface, the questions you've been too afraid to ask, the weight you've grown used to holding even though it was never yours to bear. He knows the ache behind your smile, the exhaustion behind your silence, the storm behind your stillness. And yet, he does not turn away in impatience or frustration. No, he draws near. He leans, he sits with you in the hidden places of your heart, not to condemn, but to comfort, not to question, but to carry. For he is not the kind of God who waits for you to get stronger before offering help. He is the God who meets you in your weakness, the one who stoops low to lift high, who enters into your mess and calls it holy ground, simply because he is there with you. Even when you don't know how to explain what hurts, he understands. Even when your prayers feel like broken fragments, he hears them as complete sentences. Even when all you can offer is a sigh, he receives it like a song. You are not an inconvenience to him. Your sorrow is not too much. Your confusion does not scare him. He is the God who came close, not just once on a cross, but now, tonight, in this very moment, again and again, as often as you will welcome him. And even when your hands are too tired to open, even when your faith feels too thin to reach, still he comes, still he arrives. Still he whispers your name with gentleness. He knows what you carry. He knows the fears you silence during the day and wrestle with in the night. He knows the people you love so deeply it hurts, the relationships you want to fix, but don't know how, the dreams you once believed in, that now feel too fragile to speak of out loud. He knows what has broken you. He knows what you've had to pretend didn't affect you. He knows what you're trying to move on from, even as it follows you, and yet, he does not love you less because of it. He loves you deeper in spite of it. You do not have to be unburdened to be embraced. You do not have to be healed to be held. You do not have to be wise to be welcome. The presence of Jesus is not a reward for the holy, it is a refuge for the hurting. And tonight, he invites you again to rest in that refuge, not to fix everything, not to figure it all out, but simply to be with him. You are safe here, you are known here, you are understood here. So let go of what you're holding with white-knuckled fear. Let go of the image you've tried to protect. Let go of the need to always appear strong, always appear in control, always appear unshaken. The truth is, he already sees past it. He sees the trembling behind your determination, the fatigue behind your discipline, the longing behind your independence. You don't need to impress him. You don't need to educate him on what you're going through. He knows, and not just intellectual. He knows it personally. Jesus wept. Jesus grew tired. Jesus felt the sting of betrayal, the absence of friends, the silence of heaven. He bore it all so that when you come to him now with your burdens, you're not coming to a distant God, but to a Savior who has walked the same road, and now walks it again with you. His invitation still stands. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. It is not a metaphor, it is a promise. It is not a theory, it is a reality. And tonight, as you lie in the quiet of this hour, you do not need to carry 1 ounce more than you were meant to. He is offering to take it, all of it, even the parts you feel you must solve on your own, even the things you've carried for so long they've become part of your identity. Lay it down, not because it is easy, not because you've solved it, but because you are no longer meant to carry what only grace can lift. And when you do, you'll find this sacred truth. He doesn't just take your burden, he gives you himself in return. He exchanges heaviness for peace. He trades anxiety for stillness. He offers not only answers, but the presence that makes questions bearable. For God is not simply a problem solver. He is a father. He is a comforter. He is a healer who touches the wounds others have ignored. And where there is pain, he does not bring platitudes. He brings presence. Where there is loss, he does not offer cold theology. He offers himself, his tears, his voice, his embrace. You do not need to explain the weight. He already knows. You do not need to justify the tear. He already understands. You do not need to map out a plan before he can move. He moves because he loves, not because you've earned it. And his love is not abstract. It is not theoretical. It is active, powerful, healing, and present right here, in this exact moment, as you listen and breathe and slowly begin to release what you've been holding. So let him hold you instead. Let him carry the thing you've hid. Let him speak into the silence, with words no one else could say, because no one else knows what you've endured the way he does. He is not overwhelmed by your story. He is not discouraged by your past. He is not limited by your current struggle. The one who calms storms with a word is the same one who speaks over you now. And what he says is not shame, not accusation, not condemnation, but peace. Be still. You are mine. I am here. I am enough. Let those words settle over your soul like rain upon dry ground. Let them soak into every corner of your heart. Let them be the voice that drowns out every lie, every fear, every whisper that told you it was too late, that you were too much, or not enough, or too broken, or too far, because the voice of Jesus says otherwise, and his is the only voice that holds eternity in it. So breathe again, not as someone who must survive the night, but as someone who is already held through it. He knows what you carry, and he has never stopped carrying you. There are moments, quiet and lingering, when the world seems to pull away from you, when the laughter fades, when the company disappears, when even the comfort of familiarity cannot reach you. And in those moments, loneliness creeps in like a shadow, not because you are unloved, but because the heart longs for something deeper, something eternal, something that cannot be found in the temporary affirmations of people who come and go with the tides of their own stories. And in that sacred space, in that silent ache of wondering if anyone truly sees you, truly knows you, truly remains when others forget, there is one who stays. He does not withdraw. He does not grow tired of your question. He does not vanish when the world becomes too heavy or your soul too quiet. In fact, it is in the moments when you feel most alone that he is most present, not as a concept or a memory, but as the living presence of love himself, who sits with you in the invisible places and whispers, "You are never truly alone, not even now." Loneliness is not weakness. nor is it a sign of spiritual failure. It is part of being human in a world that is not our home, a longing for connection that runs deeper than conversation or company. It is a spiritual hunger, a cry of the heart, to be seen beyond performance, to be loved without pretense, to be known without fear, and Jesus answers that cry, not with mere words but with himself. He does not fill the silence with noise, he fills it with peace. He does not distract you from your ache, he enters into it with compassion. He does not tell you to move on, he tells you to lean in, to let him be enough, to let his nearness become your confidence even when no one else is near. For he is the friend who never leaves. He is the shepherd who calls you by name when you've wandered too far to hear anyone else. He is the light in your darkness, not just to expose what hurts, but to gently warm the cold corners of your soul that have not felt love in a long time. And though it may feel like no one understands, he does. Though it may seem like no one reaches for you, he has. And though you may sit in a room surrounded by silence, heaven itself is leaning in, heaven itself is watching over you, and the Spirit of the living God is surrounding you even now. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, you are not invisible in the kingdom of God. Every tear you've cried in solitude, he has counted. Every quiet prayer, whispered into your pillow at night, he has recorded. Every time you chose to keep going when no one else cheered you on, he noted. And he does not forget, he remembers, he rewards, he remains. You do not need to fill the silence tonight with distractions. You do not need to mask the ache with noise. You are allowed to feel, you are allowed to miss what you lost. You are allowed to grieve the absence of people you thought would stay, but you are also allowed to hope again. Not in people who may return, but in the God who never left. And when you feel the weight of isolation pressing down on you like a cold, silent blanket, let it become the space where his arms wrap around you more tightly than ever before. For he is the God who makes deserts bloom, who makes wildernesses sacred, who meets the weary not in crowds but in caves, not in applause but in whispers. He met Elijah not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in a gentle whisper. And he meets you the same way, not always loud, but always present. If the loneliness you feel tonight has been too loud for too long, let him speak louder, not with noise, but with nearness. Let his spirit fill the emptiness with belonging. Let his mercy remind you that you are not alone in your story. You are surrounded by love eternal, anchored by grace, held by hands that do not let go. Others may misunderstand you, others may misjudge your silence, or misread your distance, but he knows the truth of who you are. He sees the fullness of your heart, even the parts you hide. He knows your intentions, even when words fail. He knows your heartache, even when your mouth cannot express it. He is not looking for you to be strong. He is not expecting you to always be joyful or full of answers. He simply wants to be near, and he is. He always is. Though the night is long, his love is longer. Though the silence is deep, his voice reaches deeper. Though the ache is heavy, his hands are stronger. So let your soul breathe. Let yourself be honest. You do not need to pretend. The Lord is not waiting for a perfect prayer or polished worship. He is waiting for the real you, the one beneath the roles you play and the masks you wear, the you that hurts, the you that wonders, the you that needs more than anyone else can give. And he gives comfort for your solitude. He gives beauty for your ashes. He gives companionship that does not fade. Tonight, if you feel the ache of absence, let it drive you not into despair, but into intimacy. Let it draw you closer to the one who already knows how you feel. Let it open your heart to the God who never asks you to hide your pain. Let it become the very space where healing begins, where connection is restored, where communion becomes more than a word. It becomes your reality. You may not feel him the way you may not hear him the way you expect, but he is here, always, closer than your thoughts, closer than the air. And if tonight you need to cry, cry. He is not uncomfortable with your sorrow. If tonight you need to sit in silence, do so. He is not threatened by your stillness. If tonight you need to simply breathe, do it slowly. He breathes with you. This is not the end of your story. This is not the sum of your worth. This is not the conclusion of your belonging. You are not defined by who left, by who forgot, by who never saw you. You are defined by the one who formed you, who named you, who claimed you as his own before anyone else even knew your name. So rest, beloved. You are not alone. You never were. You never will be. When your hands grow tired and your soul feels thin, when the road stretches longer than you imagined and your heart no longer knows how to pray with the certainty it once carried. Be reminded, the strength you need has never been your own, and it was never meant to be drawn from the fragile well of your own capacity, but from the eternal reservoir of the one who neither slumbers nor grows weary, who gives strength to the faint and increases power to the one who has none left to offer. He has never asked you to endure this journey in the might of your own will, nor has he ever required that you conquer battles with a strength forged by your own hands, because his power is made perfect, not in the abundance of your ability but in the beauty of your weakness, in the rawness of your surrender, in the trembling yet willing heart that simply whispers, "I need you, Lord." It is not failure to come to the end of yourself, it is invitation. It is not shameful to feel like you have nothing left to give. It is the beginning of grace. It is not defeat to admit that your strength has run dry. It is the very place where his begins to overflow. So if tonight your spirit feels empty, if your arms feel too tired to lift in praise, and your thoughts too scattered to hold focus, let that be the place where his mercy meets you again, not to scold you for your frailty, but to remind you that he never asked you to be enough, because he already is. For the Lord your God is your refuge and strength, a very present help in time of trouble. And though the mountains may fall and the earth gives way beneath your feet, though the waves of life may crash louder than your ability to endure them, he remains unmoved, unshaken, unthreatened by the chaos that threatens to consume you, and his hand, mighty and outstretched, is still extended toward you even now, not waiting for you to climb your way back to stability, but reaching into the depths to draw you back to his rest. You do not need to be strong to be safe. You only need to be held, and he holds you. He does not hold you conditionally, or temporarily, or based on your ability to maintain faith without faltering. He holds you completely, continually, faithfully, as a shepherd who does not abandon the sheep that strays, but leaves the 99 to go after the one who's tired, confused, and too weary to call out for help anymore. And maybe that's what tonight feels like. Not a prayer, not a song, not even a moment of victory, but simply a soft, almost silent surrender. Not dramatic, not powerful, not even verbal, but deeply real, profoundly honest, and wholly human, and that is more than enough for him. He never asked for performance, only presence. He never needed eloquence, only honesty. He is not moved by loud declarations, but by surrendered hearts, not by strength you muster up, but by weakness you offer up. And in the stillness of this hour, he wants to remind you that it is not your strength that sustains your destiny, it is his grace. And his grace does not waver. His grace does not run out when yours does. His grace does not weaken when your courage slips. His grace is a river that flows beneath the surface of your life, deeper than your thoughts, steadier than your emotions. And no matter how inconsistent your faith has felt lately, he remains faithful, for he cannot deny himself. So tonight, let yourself stop trying to be strong. Let yourself stop pretending you're not tired. Let yourself fall, not into despair, but into arms that have never once failed to catch you. Let your exhaustion be the doorway through which his rest enters. Let your confusion be the soil where his wisdom takes root. Let your weakness become the altar where his strength is glorified. For the God who gave strength to David when he stood before giants, who gave endurance to Elijah when he outran kings, who gave courage to Esther when she stood before thrones, and gave boldness to Peter when he stood in the face of rejection, that same God lives in you. And he is not distant, he is not indifferent, he is not reluctant to act. He is ready, ready to renew what has faded, ready to breathe again, where your breath has run short, ready to pour peace into the panic you've kept quiet and to speak courage into the corners of your soul you've closed off from others. He is not a God of barely enough, he is the God of more than enough. He is not here to merely help you survive this season. He is here to carry you through it with power that confounds human reason, and a tenderness that heals wounds too deep for human words. And so you do not need to apologize for your weakness tonight. You do not need to earn rest or justify surrender. You do not need to climb your way back to strength with effort that empties you even more. You only need to come, broken if you must, tired if you are, silent if you can't find the words, because his Spirit already intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words, and the Father already knows the cries that never made it past your lips. He knows your fatigue. He knows your secret questions. He knows the moments you wonder if it's all just too much, and yet he still remains. He is not shocked by your limits. He is not disappointed by your humanity. He is not surprised that sometimes you fall. He already chose to love you, not despite your frailty, but through it, in it, within it, and because of it, so that his glory might shine more brightly in the place where your own strength could never carry you. So breathe again, beloved of God, not because the burden is gone, but because the one who carries it is near. Breathe not as someone barely making it, but as someone wholly surrounded, protected and loved by the everlasting God. And when you close your eyes tonight, do not close them in fear of tomorrow, or regret for today. Close them in the shelter of the one who neither sleeps, nor grows weary, whose watchful presence surrounds your home, whose angels guard your rest, whose Spirit sings over you even now. You are not expected to be unbreakable, you are only expected to be held, and he, your Savior, your Shepherd, your strength, is holding you now. There is a kind of peace that the world cannot give, a kind of rest that no vacation can offer, a stillness that does not come from silence alone, but from presence, and not just any presence, but the presence of the Lord himself, who alone is able to calm the storm without, but even more miraculously, the storm within. And tonight he invites you not simply to listen or to pause, but to dwell, to abide, to fully sink into the peace that has never once been absent, only sometimes hidden by noise, or clouded by fear, or drowned out by the heaviness of the day. You were not created to live in a state of tension. You were not designed to endure an existence ruled by hurry or haunted by worry, because the soul was not made to carry what the Savior already bore, and the heart was never meant to beat apart from the rhythm of heaven's peace. And yet we often run, not always physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, running to fix what we cannot control, to figure out what we cannot know, to protect what we were never asked to defend. And in our running, even when well-intentioned, we find ourselves exhausted. Even in moments that appear calm on the outside, we remain uneasy within, because peace is not the absence of challenge, it is the presence of Jesus. So pause now, not just to stop moving, but to recognize the one who is already with you, not coming from afar, not delayed in his arrival, not reluctant to approach, but here now, entirely near, closer than the thoughts racing through your mind, closer than the pulse that beats beneath your skin, closer than the breath that gently escapes your chest, as you try to settle your soul into rest. He is not simply offering peace, he is peace. He is not simply giving calm, he is calm. He is not simply sending stillness, he is stillness. He is the Prince of Peace, not just in title, but in truth, not just in name, but in nature. And when he enters a room, everything begins to change, not always in visible ways, but in eternal ones, as fear melts in his presence, as anxiety bends under his authority, as noise submits to the sound of his voice, that speaks not in shouts, but in soft, unshakable assurance. Peace, I leave with you, my peace, I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. This peace is not borrowed, it is not circumstantial, it is not dependent on how well your day went, or how many prayers you feel were answered. It is grounded in who he is, and he does not change. He is not moved, he is not shaken by what shakes you. He is peace when life is loud. He is peace when grief is heavy. He is peace when tomorrow looks uncertain. And tonight, he is peace, right where you are. So let your mind stop rehearsing the worst. Let your heart stop anticipating the fall. Let your soul stop playing every possible outcome on repeat. You do not have to live in fear of what may come, because the one who holds tomorrow is the same one who holds you, and in his hands, nothing is wasted, nothing is missed, nothing is out of reach. And that means peace is not delayed, peace is not gone, peace is not lost, peace is present, because he is present. Let his nearness become more real than your thoughts. Let his word become louder than your worries. Let his spirit become heavier than your fear. For even when you feel overwhelmed, he is not. And even when you feel too far, he remains close. And even when the world feels unstable, he remains the same, yesterday, today, forever. Do not wait for your circumstances to calm before you believe he is near. Believe he is near, and your soul will begin to calm. Do not wait for the absence of pressure to invite his presence. Invite his presence, and the pressure will begin to lose its grip, because you are not a prisoner of emotion. You are not at the mercy of what others think. You are not a victim of what surrounds you. You are a child of peace, born of the Spirit, anchored in grace, kept by mercy, and surrounded by a love that cannot be undone. Even now, as your heart slows and your breath deepens, he is whispering again what he has whispered for generations. Be still, and know that I am God, not just God over the nations, not just God over the heavens, but God over you, your life, your thoughts, your story, your night. He is not only mighty, he is mindful. He is not only glorious, he is gentle. He is not only powerful, he is present. So whatever your thoughts try to relive, whatever your mind tries to fix, whatever your heart tries to carry, let go, not in panic, but in peace. Not because everything is solved, but because everything is surrendered. You were not meant to do this alone. You were not designed to live in fragments. You were not created to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were made to walk with him. You were made to rest in him. You were made to find your peace, not in what you manage, but in who you know. And you know, even if your faith feels small, even if your prayers feel broken, even if your walk has been unsteady, you know him, and he knows you. He knows the thoughts behind your silence. He knows the need behind your prayer. He knows the longing behind your prayer. And he is not a stranger to your struggle. He is not absent from your pain. He is not uninterested in your healing. He is fully here. So let your heart respond, not with effort, not with answers, just with trust. The kind of trust that says, even now, even like this, even here I choose to rest in you, not because I feel ready, not because I understand everything, but because you are here, because you are good, because you are peace, and you are mine. When the world around you shifts, and the voices of doubt rise louder than the truths you once clung to, when your confidence feels like sand slipping through trembling fingers and the image you held of your own strength begins to fade beneath the weight of another weary day, remember this, above all else, the God who formed you in secret and named you with purpose has not changed his mind about you, not in your failure, not in your confusion, not in your silence, not even in the moments when you questioned whether he still sees you at all. For the love of the Father is not fragile. It is not hesitant. It is not the kind of affection that withdraws when the winds shift, or the kind that grows cold when your faith flickers. It is steadfast, eternal, unwavering, the same yesterday, today, and forever. And nothing you've done, nothing you've thought, nothing you've feared, and nothing you've walked through has ever diminished the depth of his desire to call you his. He does not grow tired of you. He does not regret choosing you. He does not shake his head in disappointment and walk away because you didn't get it right the first time, or the 5th time, or the 50th. The cross was never a transaction based on your future success. It was a declaration of eternal commitment, a covenant sealed in blood that was never dependent on your ability to perform, but solely anchored in his decision to love you without end. And though you may drift, though you may doubt, though you may distance yourself with guilt or shame, or weariness, or fear, still, he stays, not passively watching, but actively pursuing, gently waiting for you to remember that you were never meant to earn your place with him, only to receive it. The arms of God do not close. The heart of God does not change. The mercy of God does not shrink back. Even now, with all you carry, with all you question, with all the ways you feel unqualified to be embraced, he reaches for you again, not because you've finally become enough, but because his love always was. He remembers the way you called his name even when no one else heard. He remembers the way your heart broke in secret and how you lifted your eyes toward heaven with nothing but a whisper and a tear. He remembers the way you chose him, when it would have been easier to turn away. And even when your steps have faltered, even when your resolve has weakened, even when your thoughts have wandered, and your spirit has grown tired of hoping, he is not pulled away, he remains. His spirit still covers you, his voice still calls to you, his promises are still alive within you, and no shadow of turning exists in him, no wavering in his affection, no retraction of his grace, no withdrawal of his nearness. The God who loved you when you first believed is the same God who loves you now, even when you're struggling to believe again. And his faithfulness is not determined by your consistency. His nearness is not conditional upon your perfection. His calling upon your life was not a mistake. He does not change his mind like men do, for he is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he should regret. And what he has spoken over your life, every purpose, every plan, every tender word of affirmation, he will bring to pass in his time, in his way, by his Spirit. So release the fear that you have fallen too far. Release the lie that you've disqualified yourself. Release the thought that you must fix yourself before coming home to his presence. You were never meant to redeem yourself. Redemption was always his to give, and he has given it freely, fully, without condition. So let his love wash over you again tonight. Let it fill the cracks left by disappointment. Let it soften the hard places formed by pain. Let it remind you of what is still true, even when your emotions have lost their strength to hold on. You are still chosen. You are still seen. You are still pursued. You are still deeply known, deeply wanted, deeply loved by the one who shaped the stars and still carved your name into his palm. And he will not forget you. He will not abandon you. He will not replace you or rewrite your story with someone else's name. You are his fully, eternally, without contempt. And if your hands tremble to receive this truth tonight, then let him be the one to place it gently in your heart, to hold it for you until you are strong enough to hold it again for yourself. You do not have to pretend. You do not have to prove. You do not have to perform. You only have to rest in what has always been true, that his love has never wavered and his choice of you has never changed. Even now, as you listen, as your soul exhales and your thoughts begin to slow, his voice is speaking again, not with accusation, not with condition, but with the same tenderness that once called you out of darkness, that once lifted you when you were too broken to stand, that once whispered to your heart when you had no strength left to seek him. He is still that God. He is still here. He is still for you, and he has not changed his mind about you. There are seasons when the heavens feel quiet, when your prayers seem to echo unanswered in the stillness, when your heart, though desperate for direction, receives no immediate reply, and your soul begins to wonder if perhaps you've been forgotten, or overlooked, or delayed. But even in those sacred silent spaces where it seems nothing is moving, God is still working, still speaking, still writing, still building what you cannot yet see, because the silence of heaven is never evidence of absence, but the invitation to trust in a work that goes far deeper than your senses can perceive. For the God who created the seed did not despise the time it spent hidden beneath the soil, and the same one who called Lazarus out of the tomb was silent for 4 days, not because he was distant, but because his timing is perfect, and his glory is never rushed. So if you find yourself in a place where it feels as though your prayers have stalled, and your worship rises into an invisible sky, if you lie awake wondering why you can't seem to hear his voice the way you once did, take heart, beloved. Not a single whisper has been lost. Not a single cry has gone unnoticed. Not a single tear has fallen without being held in the hands of the one who gathers even your sighs and stores them in the vault of his eternal compassion. For silence is not neglect, delay is not denial, and quietness is not the absence of love. It is often the very ground where trust is planted and watered until its roots grow so deep that even the fiercest storms cannot tear them loose. Do not let the quietness fool you. Do not let the stillness discourage you. Do not let the unanswered questions convince you that God is unmoved by your circumstances, for he is the God who knit galaxies in silence, who splits seas in stillness, who does not panic when the noise fades or when time seems to stretch without explanation. He is working, Even now, he is aligning hearts, opening doors, softening the ground, preparing blessings you're not yet ready to carry, answering prayers in ways your words never thought to ask for, and strengthening your faith, not by giving you all the answers but by making himself enough in the waiting. There are things he builds in silence that cannot be formed in noise. There are foundations that can only be laid when your hands are empty. There are lessons that take root not in moments of clarity, but in hours of mystery. And it is in those hours, those deep, aching hours of wondering and wondering, that your heart learns what it really means to rest in him alone. You do not have to hear him to know he is near. You do not have to feel him to know he is faithful. You do not have to see change to know that transformation is happening in places far beneath the surface. And when the silence stretches longer than you hoped, let it become the sacred space where trust is born, where faith is forged, where your worship is no longer anchored to results, but rooted in who he is, unchanging, present, sovereign, tender, and entirely worthy of your surrender. He is not punishing you with quiet. He is purifying your trust. He is not withholding himself from you. He is deepening your dependence on him. And even when it feels like your prayers are small, dry, or inconsistent, still they rise before him like incense, and he receives them, not as weakness but as love. For it is in the silence that he teaches you how to hear with your heart, not just your. It is in the stillness that he opens your eyes to see in the spirit, not just the natural. It is in the waiting that he shows you that his voice does not always come with thunder, but often in the gentle wind, the whisper, the unshakable peace that settles in when everything else falls quiet. So rest tonight, in the truth, that your Father is not a stranger to stillness. He is not in a hurry. He is not reactive. He is not guessing what comes next. He sees the full arc of your life, from the places you've already walked through to the ones you cannot yet imagine, and he holds it all in hands that do not tremble. The silence you feel is not a wall, it is a veil, and behind it, 1,000 things are moving for your good, countless details are aligning, unseen protection is surrounding you, and angels are being assigned by name to the path you cannot yet see. So let your soul settle, let your heart breathe deeper, let your mind stop chasing answers you don't need yet. He is working, not one day, not later, not eventually, but right now, and what you cannot see does not mean nothing is happening. Just because the door hasn't opened doesn't mean the room is empty. Just because the light hasn't turned on doesn't mean the power is absent. Just because you haven't heard him speak this week or this month or this year, doesn't mean he isn't moving mountains on your behalf. And even if the only thing you can offer him tonight is your presence, your posture, your breath, your silence, that too is worship. That too is prayer. That too is enough, because he never asked for volume. He asked for trust. And when you offer trust in the middle of the silence, you are loving him with a depth that echoes through eternity. He is not far from you. He is not deaf to you. He is not disappointed in you. He is simply waiting until the time is right, not by your calendar, but by his perfect wisdom, to open the window of heaven and pour out what your heart has barely dared to hope for. He is not late. He is precise. He is preparing you as much as he is preparing the answer. And in that preparation, in that holy hidden process, he is still speaking, he is still writing, he is still working, and he has never ever stopped. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, before your name was ever spoken aloud by human lips, before your first breath met the air of this world, and long before your feet touched the paths you now walk, he knew you, fully, intimately, completely, and he not only knew your beginning, but he saw your ending, and everything in between. Every step you would take, every decision you would face, every detour, every valley, every victory, and every tear you would cry along the way. And still he called you good. Still he called you chosen. Still he called you his. He is not surprised by your weakness. He is not alarmed by your wandering. He is not disillusioned by your delays, for he does not build your life based on your perfect consistency, but on his eternal foresight and unshakable love, a love that wrote your story, not from chapter to chapter, like a man discovering a narrative, but from the end backwards. Already knowing how he would redeem what would be broken, restore what would be lost, and resurrect what would seem beyond repair. There is nothing you are walking through right now that he did not foresee, nothing you are feeling that he has not accounted for, nothing you are fearing that can override the plan he authored before time ever began. You are not a question mark in his eyes. You are not a burden on his hands. You are not a disappointment hanging in limbo while heaven decides your worth. You are known, you are held, you are understood, and though you may not see how the current struggle fits into a greater purpose, though you may not feel peace when the process stretches longer than your heart hoped for, though you may cry out asking why certain prayers remain unanswered, still, the author of your story is not confused. Still, the one who designed your future is not rewriting it in reaction to your flaws. Still, the shepherd of your soul is not guessing how to lead you forward. He knows the end from the beginning. He sees the full picture when all you see are scattered pieces. And he is not waiting for you to put them together. He is inviting you to trust that he already has. You may not understand why this season feels like delay. You may not grasp why the breakthrough hasn't come, or why the answer still seems hidden. But what feels like a pause to you is preparation to him. What looks like silence to you is strategy in his hand. And what you call a setback, he has already written into a setup for healing, for increase, for growth, for glory. So take a breath tonight and stop measuring your progress by what you can control. Stop judging your faith by what you can see. Stop comparing your timeline to anyone else's story. You are not behind, you are being held in divine alignment by a God who cannot fail. He has not forgotten what he spoke over you. He has not altered his plans because of your mistake. He has not changed his promise because of your current position. For he knew every moment you would walk through before you ever lived it. And in that knowing, he still chose you, he still assigned you, he still wrote good works in advance for you to walk in. And now, even in the moments that feel small, even in the prayers that feel unanswered, even in the days that feel like repetition instead of revelation, his Spirit is working, shaping your soul, refining your desires, maturing your hope, and deepening your roots. Because he is not just building moments, he is building a life that cannot be shaken by temporary storms. He is not watching passively while you struggle. He is not hoping you figure it out. He is not reacting to your life in real time. He is leading it, moment by moment, step by step, day by day, with eyes that have already seen the end, and a heart that will never grow weary of walking beside you all the way to it. So trust him again tonight, not just with the things you understand, but especially with the ones you don't. Trust him not just with the doors that are open, but with the ones that remain shut. Trust him not just with the prayers he answered quickly, but with the ones you've asked 1,000 times without reply. He is not slow, he is not reluctant, he is not undecided, he is perfect in all his ways, he is precise in all his timing, he is intentional in every detail. And even when your faith is tired, even when your hope feels faint, even when your strength is gone, he carries you, not because you are strong, but because he is faithful. And his strength is not limited by your weakness. What he began in you, he will finish. What he promised to you, he will fulfill. What he planted in you, he will bring to harvest, not because of your ability, but because of his nature, and his nature does not change. So breathe in this truth tonight. The outcome of your life is not hanging in the balance of your performance. It is resting in the hands of a God who knew exactly who you were, exactly what you would walk through, and exactly how he would love you through every chapter. And he has not changed his mind. He is not done. He is not distant. He is not unsure. He knows the end from the beginning, and he is walking you there, even now. When fear rises like a flood, and your thoughts begin to spin faster than your heart can keep pace with, when your imagination creates outcomes shaped by worry instead of truth, and the weight of uncertainty becomes heavier than your peace can hold, remember this: you are not at the mercy of your circumstances. You are not unprotected in a dangerous world. You are not drifting alone in a life that feels unstable, because the hands that hold the universe are the same hands that hold you, and they are steady, they are strong, and they are incapable of letting go. You are not standing on fragile ground. You are not balanced on a wire of performance. You are not being evaluated moment by moment, as if your next failure might be the one that disqualifies you. You are safe, not because danger doesn't exist, but because God does, and he surrounds you above and beneath, before and behind, within and beyond, in ways you may not always feel, but which are no less real, no less present, no less powerful, simply because your senses are not tuned to their frequency. For he is the God who shields you even when you don't ask, who intercepts attacks you'll never know about, who places angels on assignment, not because you prayed perfectly but because he loves you deeply, and he keeps you not according to your strength, but according to his promise. He has never failed to defend his own. He has never misplaced a soul that entrusted itself to him. He has never been caught off guard by the trials that approach, or the questions that arise. Even in the darkest valley, even in the fiercest storm, even when all the familiar lights have gone out, and the silence seems louder than his voice, you are still in his hand, still under his covering, still protected by a love that does not sleep, a mercy that does not falter, a will that cannot be broken by the plans of men or the schemes of hell. Let go of the illusion that your safety depends on your control. Let go of the anxiety that whispers you must solve everything before you can rest. Let go of the heaviness that tells you you're on your own, for you have never been alone, not in your lowest moment, not in your highest calling, not in the spaces between where nothing seems to move but everything feels fragile. He was there when you didn't feel him. He was present when you didn't recognize his hand. He was working when you thought nothing was happening at all. And even now, he is holding you not loosely, not tentatively, not as one who might change his mind, but as a father who grips with purpose, who carries with joy, who guards with covenant, whose protection over your life is not a reaction, but a decision sealed in blood and spoken through eternity. You are not vulnerable to fate. You are not floating through chaos. You are not uncovered. You are cradled in the hand that carved the mountains, in the palm that set the stars, in the grip that broke death and crushed the grave and rose again with all authority, not just over heaven and earth, but over your life, your days, your breath, your name. He sees the dangers before they reach you. He knows the outcome before the battle begins. He surrounds you not with human shields, but with the very presence of the Almighty. And though trials may come and winds may howl and storms may rage, nothing can separate you from the protection of the Lord, because nothing is more powerful than his will for your life. So when fear knocks, let faith answer, not faith in your knowledge, not faith in your plans, but faith in his hands, the same hands that blessed the children and calmed the sea, the same hands that broke the bread and washed the feet, the same hands that carried the cross and bore the nails, the same hands that were pierced for you are the hands that now protect you. He does not drop what he treasures. He does not lose what he purchased. He does not forget what he chose. And you have been chosen, not accidentally, not generically, not conditionally, but intentionally, specifically, eternally be held by him, to be guarded by him, to be sustained and restored and strengthened by the hands that formed you from dust and filled you with breath. So do not let the world define your security. Do not let statistics dictate your peace. Do not let circumstance override your assurance. You are kept, not by systems, not by predictions, not by what-ifs, but by the sovereign, personal, unshakable will of the Lord, who has written your days in his book, who has named you beloved, and who has sworn by his own name that he will never leave you, never forsake you, never release you from his grip. And even if the world around you trembles, even if voices try to convince you you are vulnerable, even if your own thoughts betray you, let this truth rise higher than every lie. You are safe in his hand. When you wake with the heaviness of yesterday still clinging to your thoughts, when your first breath of morning is already burdened with regrets that haven't faded and memories that whisper of failure, when your soul stretches toward hope but finds it tangled in shame or weariness, or the echo of things you cannot undo, know this: the mercy of the Lord is not exhausted. Not yesterday, not today, not ever, for it comes again and again with the dawn and before the dawn. And even now, his mercy has already arrived for you, full and fresh, and untouched by the limits of your past. It does not arrive because you earned it. It does not wait for your perfection. It does not check your performance before it pours out over your soul. His mercy is not like man's approval, which fades with mistakes or grows cold with time. His mercy flows not from what you do, but from who he is. and who he is does not change. So let go of the thought that you must apologize before you can be embraced, that you must clean up before you can come close, that you must carry guilt as some kind of offering, because the cross already bore what you could not, and mercy is the evidence that race still wins, even when the day before left you broken. You do not approach God as a beggar in rags. You do not enter his presence wearing shame, like a chain. You are welcomed as a child returning to a father who already knew the struggle and still set the table. And tonight, as the quiet settles and your heart surrenders the last weight of the day, hear this clearly. You are not defined by the moment you fell, but by the one who lifts you again and again, without hesitation, without reluctance, without resentment, because his mercy is not rationed, not fragile, not temporary, but infinite, overflow, fierce in its gentleness, and holy in its compassion. You are not your worst mistake. You are not your weakest hour. You are not the version of yourself that shame has tried to build around you. You are who he says you are, forgiven, beloved, restored, cleansed, renewed, and not because you willed it, but because he willed it, because he chose mercy when justice would have sufficed, because he extended kindness when silence would have made sense, because he gave himself when he owed you nothing, and now you owe him nothing but your trust. Let your breath slow tonight. Let your soul unclench. Let your spirit stop rehearsing the things you should have done differently, because he is not tallying your errors. He is not keeping score. He is not waiting for a better version of you to show up tomorrow. He is with you as you are, and mercy is not what you will receive if you improve. It is what you are, already standing in right now, whether you believe it or not, whether you feel it or not, whether you think you deserve it or not. And that's the miracle. Mercy does not wait for deserve. It meets you in need. It finds you in failure. It greets you at the edge of repentance, and carries you before your strength can return. You may think this day was wasted. You may feel that your words fell short. Your choices missed the mark. Your moments slipped through your fingers, like sand. But his mercy does not consult your performance before it moves in power. It sees you as you are. It hears your heart beneath the noise. It knows the weight you're too tired to explain. And it comes rushing, again and again, without pause, without judgment, without limit. So breathe it in. Let mercy wash you clean, not only from sin but from shame, not only from failure, but from fear, not only from the burden of doing better, but from the lie that you must do anything to earn the love that already covers you. You are not behind in his presence. You are not late to his grace. You are not too broken for his healing. You are simply here, and here is enough, because he is here too, and where he is, mercy flows. It flows over what you regret. It flows beneath what you understand. It flows into the cracks you didn't even know were forming, and it will not run, because it is new every morning, and tonight it is new for you. Even when time stretches longer than you expected, even when the days blur into nights and the answers feel suspended in silence, even when every sign seems to contradict the hope you once carried so boldly in your heart, his promises have not changed. They have not weakened. They have not faded beneath the weight of delay. For what he has spoken is not a suggestion or a possibility or a wish. It is a divine declaration from a God who cannot lie, whose word is bound to his nature, whose covenant is sealed not in ink but in blood. You may not feel it now. You may not see the evidence you long for. You may wonder if what you heard in faith has been buried by what you now see in fear. But even if your faith falters, even if your grip loosens, even if your hope lies quietly in the corner of your heart waiting for breath, his word is alive, his will is active, and the promises that once stirred your spirit with joy still stand with unshaken resolve. For the Lord is not a man that he should change his mind, not a human that he should forget what he said, not a leader who needs to revise his plan or rewrite his timeline, but the everlasting God who sees the end from the beginning, who watches over his word to perform it, who never speaks lightly and never abandons the things he has declared. You are not being toyed with by heaven. You are not being punished by delay. You are not being teased with hope only to be disappointed by its absence. You are being formed in the wait. You are being strengthened in the stillness. You are being led through a process that is doing far more within you than you can yet see around you. And all the while the promise remains intact. not because of your ability to believe perfectly, but because of his faithfulness to fulfill what he begins. So even if your heart aches with questions, even if your mind is weary with what-ifs, even if your prayers feel quieter than they used to, the Lord does not need the volume of your voice to remember his vow. He is not driven by how loud you cry, but by how deeply he loves, and his love has already made provision for everything he promised you, even the parts that seem impossible. He knows the timeline better than you do. He knows what needs to happen before the next door opens. He knows what you cannot yet carry, and what you'll be ready for in the days to come. And so the delay, though painful, is not denial. It is divine. It is not wasted. It is not forgotten. It is not empty space, but sacred ground where roots go deep, where your heart learns how to lean, where your spirit is weaned from false hope, so it can cling to the truth alone. Do not measure the validity of his word by your current view. Do not measure the reliability of his character by the absence of immediate results. Do not believe that silence means forgetfulness. For the God who brought water from a rock, who made barren wombs dance with life, who called dead men from tombs, who made a way through waters and fire and wilderness, that same God has not run out of power, has not grown tired of your name, has not revoked what he once declared over your life. What he promised you, he still intends to, and no matter how much time has passed, no matter how small your strength has become, no matter how unlikely the outcome appears, his promise is still stronger than your doubt, more enduring than your delay, and more certain than anything your emotions may whisper. So lift your head, not because you feel like it, but because truth lifts the soul. Let your spirit breathe again, not because the waiting is easy, but because the one who walks with you in it is worthy of your trust. Let your hands open again, not to control but to receive, not to fix but to surrender. And when the voice of discouragement comes, when it tells you that it's too late, or that it's too broken, or that you are too far removed, let the voice of the Lord rise louder and say again what he said the first time, and what he still says now. I have spoken, and I will do it. For his promises are not fragile dreams, they are foundations. They are not hopeful ideas, they are eternal truths. They are not anchored in your consistency, they are anchored in his covenant. So rest tonight not in what you feel but in what he said, not in what you can see but in what he has sworn, not in how the story looks right now, but in who the author is, because the author does not abandon his narrative halfway through. He does not run out of ink before the end. He does not skip to someone else's story when yours becomes complicated. He finishes what he begins, and what he began in you, the promises, the purpose, the destiny. He will complete, not because of your worthiness, but because of his name, and his name is faithful. When the words no longer come easily, when your mouth is silent but your heart is loud with aching, when your thoughts circle the same quiet sorrow again and again, and you feel the weight of what you cannot express pressing down like a shadow across your soul, do not believe for a moment that you are unseen or unheard. Because the Lord your God does not need sentences to understand. He does not wait for eloquence to respond. He does not measure the sincerity of your worship by how many words you find to speak. He listens to the language of tears. He hears the trembling in your silence. He interprets the sighs that rise from places in you too deep for anyone else to reach. He is not like man. He does not misunderstand you. He does not misread your pain. He does not grow impatient with the quiet. He draws near to it. He sits in it. He honors it. He reads the full weight of your unspoken battles and answers not just what you say but what you carry. The burdens too complex to name, the grief too sacred to vocalize, the prayers that come in fragments or fade halfway into the void of uncertainty. He understands them all. He knows the reason behind your silence before you ever try to explain it. He knows the depth of your desire even when you no longer feel brave enough to bring it to his feet. And when your lips fall still, when your posture gives way, when your strength fades beneath the sorrow, he does not leave. He leans closer, for he is the God who heard Hagar when she had no one to cry to, who heard Hannah when her prayers sounded like drunken muttering, who heard David when his words turned into weeping, who heard the woman with the issue of blood though she never spoke a word. And he is the same God now, right now, in this moment, hearing you, hearing not just what you say but what you mean, hearing not just what you ask, but what you truly long for, hearing the questions behind the pain, the hope hidden beneath the fear, the hunger for healing that your voice cannot articulate because the ache is too raw and the waiting has been too long. He knows, he sees, he cares, he surrounds, and in this sacred silence, he is not waiting for you to perform, he is inviting you to rest, to be held without having to explain why, to be loved without having to understand how, to be safe even in the absence of clarity. You are not less faithful because you are quiet. You are not less beloved because your prayers are shorter. You are not less spiritual because your worship tonight looks more like stillness than song. You are simply human, and that is where he meets you best, not in your perfection but in your need. So let your tears be prayer, let your sighs be songs, let your stillness be sacred ground, for the Holy Spirit intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words, and your high priest, Jesus himself, ever lives to intercede on your behalf, carrying your name before the Father with a compassion that never grows tired, with a love that never weakens, with an understanding that sees the full landscape of your life past, present and future, and still calls it worthy of divine attention. You do not need to find the right words tonight. You do not need to structure your grief like a letter or phrase your anxiety like a sermon. You need only to be real. You need only to exhale. You need only to let the presence of God meet you where you truly are, not where you wish you were, not where you pretend to be, not where you once felt strong, but right here, in this vulnerable stillness that feels so empty to you but is precious in his sight. He is not disappointed, is not distant. He is not confused. He is not measuring your devotion by the volume of your voice, but by the surrender of your spirit. And if all you can offer is a quiet presence, if all you can give him is a heart cracked open with longing, if all you have is the choice to stay near even when your voice fails, that is enough, more than enough, because he came not for the ones who have it all together, but for the weary, the heavy laden, the ones who need rest. So let his presence be your peace, let his nearness be your comfort, let his spirit do the speaking, for he understands what you cannot say, and he is answering what you cannot ask. He is healing what you cannot name. He is tending to what you cannot read. He is loving you in ways your mind may never understand, but your soul can feel, even now, even here, even without a single word. There are moments when the waiting feels cruel, when your heart is caught between the hope you once carried and the silence that seems to stretch beyond reason. When you look toward heaven, not in joy but in confusion, wondering why the answers haven't come, why the breakthrough is delayed, why the very thing you prayed for with trembling faith remains just out of reach. And in those moments, it is tempting to believe that you've been forgotten, or passed over, or somehow disqualified. But the truth, the eternal, holy, unshakable truth, is that God's timing is not just deliberate, not just different, but perfect. Even when it hurts, even when it bruises your understanding, even when it tests your soul to the very edge of surrender, you are not being punished by the delay. You are not being ignored by a distant Father. You are not overlooked in the shuffle of more important prayers. You are held in a timeline crafted by the same hands that carved rivers into deserts and scheduled the rising of the sun before the world ever had a name. And those hands, wise, gentle, sovereign, and full of love, have not once made a mistake. He is not late. He is not slow. He is not calculating his movement based on your fear or your fatigue. He is moving at the pace of purpose, at the speed of eternal design, at the rhythm of a divine plan that sees not just what you long for, but who you are becoming as you wait. For in the waiting, something holy is growing, not in spite of the silence, but because of it. In the stillness, your trust is deepening. In the tension, your worship is being purified. In the ache, your roots are sinking into soil that will one day support fruit beyond what you can now comprehend. Do not despise this season. Do not curse what feels like divine delay. Do not mistake his slowness for his absence. He is closer now than you think. not working against you but working in you, shaping your character, refining your desires, preparing the space your answered prayer will one day occupy. If he were to give you what you wanted too soon, it might break you. If he were to open every door now, you might walk through them unprepared. But he loves you too much to give you timing that would crush you. He loves you too much to say yes when no would strengthen you. He loves you too much to rush what must be mature. And though it aches, though your soul may cry out, though your spirit may groan beneath the weight of patience, know this: he has not forgotten, he has not changed his mind, and he has not removed his hand from the process. There is a reason for every delay. There is purpose behind every pause. There is mercy in every moment you thought he had left you waiting for no reason. For the God of Abraham and Sarah, who brought a child long after the world said it was possible. The God of Joseph, who raised a prisoner to a throne in perfect time. The God of David, who waited years to wear the crown promised to him. That same God is writing your timeline, and he does not need your calendar to guide him. Your timeline is not broken. Your future is not behind schedule. Your hope is not wasted. He is weaving things together in you, around you, ahead of you, and nothing will be late, nothing will be missing, nothing will be forgotten, for all things, all things, all things, work together for good, for those who love him, for those who are called according to his purpose. So let your spirit breathe, even in the waiting, let your soul rest, even in the uncertainty, let your faith rise, not because of what you see, but because of who you know, and you know him. You know he is good, you know he is faithful, you know he is too kind to be cruel and too wise to be wrong. So trust his silence, not as abandonment but as design. Trust his stillness, not as distance but as preparation. Trust his delay, not as rejection, but as mercy in motion. For one day, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but one day, you will look back on this very season and thank him, not just for what he did, but for when he chose to do it, because you will see that what he withheld in love, and what he gave in abundance, and the timing, oh the timing, was perfect, not in your eye, not in your clock, but in his will, and his will eternal, holy, sovereign, will always be good. From the very first breath of your becoming, before the foundations of the world were laid, before the stars were named, and the oceans were formed, before your voice ever cried out in praise or pain, the Lord who formed you also authored your purpose, not as a fleeting thought or temporary intention, but as a masterpiece in motion, a divine design not abandoned halfway through, not subject to the chaos of your surroundings, not erased by detours or mistakes, but held within the unwavering hands of a God who does not begin what he does not intend to finish. You were not a passing idea. You were not a secondary plan. You were not initiated, and then left to figure it out alone. The same Spirit that began the good work within you is the same Spirit who now walks with you, strengthens you, disciplines you, reminds you, and carries you, not because you always get it right, but because God has never failed to complete what he has begun. You may feel tired, you may feel behind, you may feel as though your calling has faded into the noise of survival. But feelings do not rewrite his promise, and fatigue does not cancel his faithfulness. For he does not measure the value of your purpose by your strength, but by his commitment, and his commitment does not waver with your circumstances, does not retreat when you're weak, does not pause when you fall short. He does not need to be convinced to finish what he began. It is his nature. He is a finisher. He is a fulfiller. He is a completer of the work he alone began. And what he planted in your life, the dreams, the desires, the callings, the anointing, it is not gone, not wasted, not lost in the years you thought were meaningless, but still alive, still active, still held in hands that do not release what they value. You are not disqualified because you doubted. You are not too far gone because you grew weary. You are not less chosen because the path has been long. You are still in the story. You are still being shaped. You are still in the hands of the potter who does not discard vessels in process, but who shapes them through fire, through pressure, through time. And when the shaping feels harsh, when the spinning feels endless, When the journey feels uncertain, know this: the end has already been seen, and it is good. For he who began a good work in you will carry it on, not might, not could, not if you stay perfect, but will until it is complete, until it shines with the fullness of what he envisioned, until your life reflects, not just survival, but sacred completion. And completion in his eyes is not about success the way the world defines it. It is not about numbers or status or applause. It is about wholeness. It is about love formed in suffering. It is about faith formed in fight. It is about a heart that, though wounded and weathered, still beats in surrender to the one who never left. So do not look at the timeline and panic. Do not measure your purpose by comparison. Do not fear that it's too late to see the fullness of what was once spoken over your life. He is not constrained by years. He is not intimidated by detours. He is not limited by what seems like wasted time. He redeems time. He restores years. He revives what has gone quiet. And even now, even here, even tonight, he is still moving, still writing, still forming the pieces that will one day come together into something more beautiful than you could have imagined, if things had gone according to your plan. So breathe again, lift your head again. Let hope return, not because you see it all, but because you know who holds it all. The God who never drops what he picks up. The God who finishes what he starts. The God who looks at the dust of your life and sees a future still worthy of glory. You may feel unfinished, but you are not forgotten. You may feel uncertain, but you are not abandoned. You may feel behind, but you are right on time in his hands. He is not done. He is not distant. He is not discouraged. He is still working. He is still weaving. He is still faithful. And he will finish what he started in you, not because of who you are, but because of who he is. And who he is never changes. There will be days when you do not rise with confidence, when the strength you thought you had slips through your hands like water, when every step feels heavier than the last, and your soul seems to sigh with each movement, when you look inward and find no boldness, no fire, no faith that feels powerful enough to carry the weight of your calling or the demands of this day. And yet, even in this, especially in this, the Lord is not disappointed, not discouraged, not distant, for it is in the cracks, in the low places, in the trembling knees and tear-stained prayers that his power flows most freely, and his strength is not added to yours but revealed in the very place where yours ends. For you were never meant to be your own source. You were never created to be self-sufficient. You were never designed to carry the burden of being enough. You were made to need him, not because of failure, but by design, by love, by divine architecture that knew from the beginning that the glory of your life would never be found in how strong you could become, but in how surrendered you would be when strength ran out. The world may tell you to hide your weakness, to fix your face, to stand taller even when your spirit is collapsing inside. But God does not operate in performance. He moves in presence, and his presence does not retreat when you falter. It draws close, because weakness is not a barrier to him. It is an invitation. It is the door through which his power enters, not just to assist, but to transform, not just to help, but to uphold. And when you can no longer climb, he does not ask for effort. He offers rest. When your voice fades, he does not need words. He listens to your silence. When your heart is tired of trying, he does not say try harder. He says come, come, not as the strong, come, not as the composed, come, not as the spiritual champion, come, as the weary, come, as the burdened, come, as the broken one who has nothing left to offer but your presence and your pain and your open hands that say I can't do this on my own. Because that is the moment where grace flows like a river, not a trickle, not a drop, but a flood of power that does not mock your limitation, but fills it, a wave of mercy that does not shame your emptiness but honors it, a presence that does not require you to rise before entering in, but meets you low, right where you are, and lifts you in love. His strength is not a backup plan, it is the plan. His grace is not a supplement for the days you underperform, it is the foundation of every breath you take, the source of every miracle you'll ever see, the reason you're still standing even now, after all the storms that have tried to pull you under. And he does not grow weary of your weakness. He does not roll his eyes at your fragility. He does not wish you would just get it together. He knew what he was choosing. When he chose you, he knew how fragile you would feel. He knew how hard some seasons would hit. And still he said yes. Still he called you his own. Still he appointed you to walk this path. Not because you are strong, but because he would be strong in you. And the world will not understand it. They will look for power in volume, in confidence, in display. But he has always hidden his glory in paradox. He conquered through crucifixion. He ruled through servanthood. He rose through surrender. And now he works through weakness. Not as a flaw, but as a holy opening. A sacred invitation for resurrection power to be revealed in vessels that are fragile, by design, that are chosen not in spite of their cracks, but because of them. So do not apologize for your weakness. Do not hide the shaking in your hands, or the trembling in your prayers. Do not wait to feel whole before you believe that God can use you. He is not waiting for your perfection. He is waiting for your surrender. And when you reach that sacred edge, when you say, Lord, I can't, it is there, right there, that he responds, but I can. And he does. And he will. Because his strength is not made perfect in your strength. It is made perfect in your weak. And tonight, that is more than enough. Before the first light pierced the darkness, before time took its first breath, before the mountains were formed, or the oceans knew their boundaries, before the stars were placed into their orbits and the galaxies stretched wide across the canvas of space, God already knew not only the shape of the world, but the shape of your story, not only the course of creation, but the course of your life. And he did not begin your story, unsure of how it would unfold. He did not speak your name, without knowing every detail of the path you would walk. He did not form your spirit and breathe his image into you without already holding every moment of your journey, from the cradle of beginning to the stillness of the end, in his hand. He is not surprised by what surprises you. He is not caught off guard by the turns in your story. He is not scrambling to fix what looks like a detour to you. There are no accidents in the eyes of the author. There are no wasted pages in the hands of the creator. There are no broken moments that he cannot fold into beauty. No tears shed in silence that he has not already accounted for. No pain endured in darkness that will not one day shine with light when seen from the other side of his plan. For he sees the end from the beginning. He sees the fullness when all you see is the fragment. He sees the conclusion while you are still asking why. He sees the restoration while you are still sitting among the ruins. And while your heart may cry out in longing or ache beneath unanswered questions, his heart is steady, not because he is unaffected, but because he is already there, in the future you cannot see, in the victory not yet tasted, in the healing not yet known, already moving, already finishing, already surrounding the place you have yet to arrive. You do not need to fear the future, because the future is not empty. It is occupied by the presence of God, prepared by the hands of God, filled with the mercy of God, and written by the wisdom of God, who never begins what he will not bring to completion. You are not drifting toward an unknown fate. You are not walking blind into chaos. You are being led, even when you cannot see the path, even when you feel like you are standing still, even when the only thing you hear is the sound of your own heartbeat, echoing against the walls of uncertainty. He is leading you, and his steps are never random. He weaves what feels disconnected. He redeems what looks ruined. He completes what you thought was lost forever. And the parts of your life that feel unanswered are not empty spaces in his plan. They are sacred pauses where trust is planted, where dependence is deepened, where faith finds roots that grow not in sight, but in surrender. So when you don't understand the now, trust the one who holds the next. When the present feels clouded, rest in the truth that the future has already been seen. When the ending feels too far to imagine, believe that he is already standing there, arms open, heart ready, table prepared, joy waiting, not because the road is easy, but because his goodness is not dependent on ease. It is dependent only on his nature, and his nature never changes. You may not know the steps that remain. You may not know the timing, or the how, or the why, but you know him, and knowing him is enough, for he is the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the one who speaks light into darkness, who brings order to the void, who shapes history with his breath, and holds your personal timeline with the same tenderness that he holds the galaxies. There is no fear in him, There is no confusion in him. There is no unfinished business in him, and there will be no unfinished business in you. He will finish what he began, because he already sees the finished version. He already knows the destination. He already rejoices over the victory. And even now, even in this middle place where everything feels half-built and he is smiling at the future he has prepared, waiting with joy to unveil it, because every word he spoke will come to pass. Every promise he made will stand, and every detail of your life, even the parts that feel like chaos, are pieces of a masterpiece still being revealed by the hands of a perfect and eternal God, who always knew the end from the beginning. Though the road ahead may wind through terrain you did not choose, though your feet may grow tired and your heart uncertain, though your thoughts may scatter like dust in the wind and your prayers may falter into sighs, know with certainty deeper than the ache that lingers in your bones, the Lord your God will not let you slip. He will not let you fall without catching. He will not leave you exposed to the winds of the world without placing himself as a shield before you, behind you, and all around you. He is not merely watching. He is not observing from afar. He is holding. He is securing. He is sustaining you with hands that do not shake, and a grip that does not loosen. And when the way narrows and the night stretches long, when your soul feels as if it walks along the edge of something fragile, when your next step feels unsure and your balance feels broken, you are not left to figure it out alone. For he who walks with you also upholds you. You are not depending on your own stability. You are not leaning on your own ability to stay faithful. You are being carried by the one who never stumbles, never slumbers, never hesitates when you begin to drift toward danger or despair. And even if you don't see the hand beneath your feet, even if the path feels invisible beneath the fog of your present pain, that hand is still there, steady, wide, unshaken by your doubt, unoffended by your weakness, unwavering in its commitment to keep you from falling beyond the reach of grace. For he is your keeper, he is your refuge, he is your sure foundation, and his word declares, not as poetry but as promise, that he will not let your foot slip. He will not let you be undone by the shaking of the world around you. He will not allow your soul to be snatched by the grip of fear or failure or darkness. You may trip, but you will not fall beyond redemption. You may wander, but you will not walk beyond reach. You may be shaken, but you will not be shattered, because underneath you are the everlasting arms, the arms that bore the weight of the cross, the arms that carried your sin and sorrow and shame, the arms that now wrap around you like light and hold you steady even when the world feels like it's spinning too far, and when others grow weary of your faltering, when even you become impatient with how long it's taking you to get back up. God does not rush you. He does not resent you. He does not compare your journey to another's pace. He simply holds you. He simply waits with you. He simply whispers the same eternal assurance into the tender ache of your spirit. You will not slip from my hand. Not now, not ever. You are not walking a tightrope over judgment. You are not teetering on the edge of rejection. You are being guided through the narrow by the one who sees every detail of the path, every stone that could trip you, every fear that could pull you sideways, and he does not just correct your steps. He guards them. He does not just watch over your soul, he surrounds. And even when you are unaware, even when you forget to ask for help, even when your eyes are too full of tears to see clearly, he is already there, already acting, already stabilizing the very ground beneath your feet, already ensuring that grace will catch what your own strength cannot hold. So let go of the need to be perfect. Let go of the fear that one wrong move will ruin everything. Let go of the lie that you are holding yourself together. You are not. He is. And he is not tired. He is not distracted. He is not overwhelmed. He is committed. He is present. He is unmovable. And he will not let you slip. When the room is quiet and no one is watching, when your eyes blur with exhaustion and your shoulders sink under the weight of what you carry in silence, when your heart longs to be seen but fears what others might say if they knew the truth, when you perform the motions of strength but ache with invisible pain beneath the surface, remember this: God sees, not like men see, not as the world sees, not through judgmental eyes or fleeting attention, but with eyes full of fire and compassion, with eyes that miss nothing, and forget nothing, and yet condemn nothing, with eyes that see every layer of your soul and still draw near. He sees the effort behind your silence. He sees the kindness you give when no one says thank you. He sees the burdens you've chosen to carry so others don't have to. He sees the forgiveness you gave that cost you your pride. He sees the prayers you whisper when no one else believes anymore. He sees it all, not just what you do, but why you do it. Not just the actions but the heart behind them. Not just the visible victories but the private wars you fight in the dark. And he is not impressed by performance. He is not blinded by outward success. He is not fooled by appearances. He looks at the heart, and what he sees there is not a disappointment, not a failure, not a problem to be fixed, but a beloved child still in process, still growing, still standing in the tension between who you've been and who you're becoming. He sees the tears that never fall past your eyelids. He sees the way you show up even when you feel empty. He sees how you choose hope even when your heart is afraid. And not only does he see, he remembers every act of obedience, every quiet yes, every sacrifice done in faith, every time you said no to bitterness and yes to love, every moment you stayed when it would have been easier to leave, every choice to believe when everything in you wanted to give up. You are not invisible to him. You are not overlooked in heaven. You are not lost in the shuffle of greater causes or louder voices or more spiritual people. You are known. You are noticed. You are and every moment of your story, even the ones that no one else knows about, even the ones that happened in silence and stillness and solitude, is held in the heart of the one who sees and celebrates and understands with a depth you may never experience from human eye. He sees what others miss. He sees your heart breaking and still loving. He sees your questions still choosing to worship. He sees your weariness still serving. He sees your brokenness still believing. He sees you not as a problem, not as a burden, not as someone who is too much or not enough, but as his own, crafted by his hands, sustained by his grace, shaped by his spirit, and carried daily by his love. And in the places where you feel unseen by people, unappreciated by those you pour into, unrecognized for the hours you've invested into healing, into building, into enduring, in those places, let this truth anchor you deeper than any applause ever could. The eyes of heaven are always upon you, and they are not passive, they are not indifferent, they are not casually glancing over your life, they are fixed on you, they are moved by you, they are full of delight for you. He watches over you not as a judge but as a father, not as a critic but as a keeper, not as one who tallies your faults but as one who rejoices over you with singing. So tonight, when you feel small in a world that rewards the loud and the visible and the accomplished, remember that the one who truly matters sees you and he is pleased, not because of what you've done but because of who you are to him. Not because you've performed perfectly but because you've kept going when it hurt. Not because of your strength, but because of your heart. And he sees that heart fully, completely, tenderly. He sees what no one else sees, and that is enough. Even when the mirror reflects more questions than answers, even when your thoughts circle like clouds around what you used to be, what you once hoped for, what you haven't become yet, even when your memory replays the moments you wish you could rewrite and your soul hesitates to believe you're still worthy of love, the truth that remains holy, unshaken, eternal, is that God has not changed his mind about you, not once, not quietly, not ever, not in the shadow of your worst moment or in the aftermath of your deepest regret. He is not like man, who wavers when things get hard, who leaves when the cost becomes too high, who rewrites his opinion based on your most recent mistake. God does not operate on shifting emotions. He does not need to be convinced to love you. He does not hold his promises on probation. He is constant. He is covenant. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And when he called you, he already knew the whole story. He knew the seasons of fire and the seasons of silence. He knew the choices you would celebrate and the ones you would mourn. He knew the days when your faith would move mountains and the nights when your fear would leave you paralyzed. He saw it all, and he still chose you. He still whispered destiny over your life. He still placed gifts inside your bones. He still wove eternity into the core of your soul. because his choosing was never based on your perfection. It was based on his purpose, and his purpose never fails. You may feel like you've disqualified yourself. You may believe the narrative that says it's too late, that you missed the window, that your mistakes erased the plan. But grace speaks a louder truth. Grace speaks of a love that writes redemption into every scar. Grace speaks of a shepherd who leaves the 99 not with frustration, but with joy. Grace speaks of a father who runs toward his child, not with reprimand, but with embrace. You have not been replaced. You have not been forgotten. You have not been demoted in the kingdom of God. He still sees you as chosen. He still calls you beloved. He still remembers every word he spoke over your life. And he is not waiting for you to earn your way back into his plan. He is waiting for you to simply believe that the plan never left. He is waiting for you to see yourself through his eyes again, not the eyes of failure or fear or comparison, but the eyes of a father whose affection cannot be shaken, whose promises cannot be revoked, whose purpose cannot be outlasted by your doubt. For he who knit you together in the secret place is not shocked by your stumbling. He is not standing with arms crossed, waiting for you to prove that you're still useful. He is the one reaching down with mercy in his hands and fire in his eyes, saying, "My child, I never stopped loving you. I never stopped calling you. I never changed my mind." And that voice, that truth, is stronger than every lie you've believed. It is deeper than every wound you've carried. It is steadier than every storm you've endured. It does not rise and fall with the tide of your emotion. It does not shrink back when you question your own worth. It does not grow faint when you feel far away, because your distance has never been greater than his reach. Your mess has never been too large for his mercy. Your silence has never been louder than his love. And tonight, right now, even in this quiet space, he is speaking again, not with condemnation, not with hesitation, but with that same voice that spoke light into darkness, that same voice that called Lazarus from the grave, that same voice that whispered over you before you ever took your first breath. I love you, I want you, I still choose you. And that voice has not changed. Not then, not now, not ever. There are burdens that feel too heavy for hands like yours, weights that settle not just on your shoulders but deep in the marrow of your being, where no one else sees, no one else feels, no one else understands the way it wraps around your chest, pressing against your breath, tightening with every passing hour that offers no relief. And though others may call you strong, though they may point to your endurance as evidence of resilience, only God knows the weariness that lives inside your silence. Only He knows how hard you've been trying just to hold everything together without unraveling, without slipping, without screaming. And it is to that God, not the God of distant ideals, but the God of your deepest reality, that you must turn. For He is not the one who demands that you carry what is killing you. He is the one who steps into the pain and says, "Let me carry you." He does not merely watch you stumble. He does not wait for you to figure it out. He does not stand behind you with judgment. He moves beside you with compassion. He kneels beside the weight. He stretches out His hands. He whispers in the quiet place where your soul shakes, "You were never meant to do this alone." Because His love is not the kind that applauds from a distance. His love is the kind that stoops, that lifts, that takes the load from your back and places it on His own shoulders. Shoulders that once bore a cross, shoulders that do not tremble beneath the pressure, shoulders that carry the universe and still have space for the ache in your bone. He is not asking for your performance. He is asking for your permission, permission to help, permission to hold, permission to hold, permission to be the strength you ran out of long ago. And when your arms fall, He lifts. When your will wavers, He remains. When your knees buckle beneath the grief, beneath the fear, beneath the unseen battle you're too tired to explain, He does not shame your weakness. He honors it with nearness. For He is the God who carries. He carried the cross through the streets of rejection. He carried your sin into death. And now He carries your pain into healing, your sorrow into joy, your burden into breakthrough. And even now, even here, even tonight when you feel like you've come to the end of yourself, He is beginning again in you. There is no shame in needing Him. There is no failure in admitting that you are not enough. That moment, the moment of surrender, the moment you let the tears fall without apology, the moment you whisper "I can't" into the silence that is not your collapse, that is your invitation, that is the turning point, the holy doorway through which grace rushes in like a flood, and carries you not because you are strong, but because he has always been. He carries you not out of obligation, but out of love. He carries you not to remind you of your weakness, but to remind you of his promise, that he would never leave you, that he would never forsake you, that he would walk with you through the fire and the flood, and that not one burden would ever be too great for his arm. So let go of the illusion of self-sufficiency, let go of the lie that says you must be everything for everyone, let go of the fear that asking for help is failure. You are already seen, you are already known, you are already loved, and you are already carried, not because of anything you've done, but because of who he is. He is your refuge, he is your strength, he is your burden bearer, and he will carry you not for a moment, not for a season, but for as long as it takes, until the storm passes, until the night breaks, until the path is clear, until your feet find strength again, and your soul remembers how to rest. And even then, even when you rise again, he will still be carrying what you cannot, because that's who he is, and that's who he will always be. There are moments when your voice does not rise above a whisper, when your lips do not move at all, when your prayers are no longer shaped by words, but by the aching silence between heartbeats, by the deep sighs that echo inside your chest and tremble through your bones. And though the world may not hear, though no one may lean close enough to notice the tears you do not speak of, the Lord, the one who formed your breath and laced your soul with meaning, hears it all, receives it all, responds to it all. Not just the eloquent prayers or the bold declarations of faith, but the fragile hopes, the broken groans, the unanswered longings that you barely dare to admit even to yourself. He is not distant when you are quiet. He is not indifferent when your spirit grows tired of speaking. He is not waiting for a performance to be moved with compassion. He is moved the moment your soul lifts its gaze, even slightly, even faintly toward him, because his ears are tuned to the frequency of human frailty. His heart bends low to the sound of quiet desperation. And when others see silence, he sees surrender. When others hear nothing, he hears everything. The words you didn't say, the fears you didn't name, the hopes you still carry, buried deep under layers of caution and disappointment. He knows them all, and he holds them all, not as passing noise, not as scattered fragments, but as sacred offerings, precious to him, heavy with the weight of your trust, however small it feels to you in this moment. For he is the God who heard Hagar in the wilderness. He is the God who heard Hannah in her weeping. He is the God who caught every cry of David as he ran through caves and shadows. And he is the God who hears you not because you say it perfectly, not because you pray with power, but because he is a father, and fathers do not tune out the voice of their children. They lean in, they respond. So when your prayers feel too soft to make a difference, too weak to shift anything, too late to matter, remember that God is not deaf to despair, and he is not slow to respond to pain. He hears your quiet cry the moment it forms, and even before it finds your lips, he is already near, already working, already moving in ways your eyes cannot yet perceive. And even if the answer takes time, even if the silence feels long, even if the heavens seem still, do not confuse stillness with absence. Do not confuse quiet with neglect. He hears, and not only does he hear, he does not catalogue your prayers for future review. He carries them like treasure close to his chest, like incense before his throne, and not one cry will return void, not one tear will be ignored, not one whisper will be lost in the wind. Your voice matters to heaven, your pain echoes in eternity, and even now as you sit in the stillness, as you breathe in and out, as you try to remember how to hope again, your cry, whatever shape it takes, is being received, not as weakness, but as worship. And the response of God is not delayed because you were too quiet. It is never too late. It is never too soft. It is never too broken. He is already answering in his way, in his time, in his wisdom. And when the answer comes, it will be fuller than what you expected, richer than what you imagined, more complete than what you thought possible. Because the one who hears the quietest cry is the same one who commands the winds, who parts the seas, who breaks chains with a word, and he is listening now, not someday, not when you've gathered strength, not when you've cleaned up your heart. Now, right now, here, in the silence, in the stillness, in the hidden places where no one else sees, he is listening, and he will not forget your voice. There are parts of your life that feel like ruins now. Places where hope once bloomed, but was cut down by time or tragedy. Paths you once walked with joy, that now lie broken beneath the weight of what never happened, of what fell apart, of what you lost without warning. And though others may have moved on, though the world may not pause to grieve with you, though the clock has kept ticking and your hands have learned to keep going, somewhere inside you there still lives a quiet ache for what could have been, for what should have lasted, for the pieces you buried before you had time to understand what was happening. But hear this: the God who shaped you is also the God who restores, and he has not forgotten what was taken. He sees what broke. He sees what was stolen in the night. He sees what dissolved before it had a chance to flourish, and he is not indifferent. He is not silent. He is not absent in your mourning. He collects every sorrow like a seed, and in his time, he brings forth a harvest that grows from places you thought were too barren, too wasted, too far gone to ever produce joy again. For he is the God of return. He is the God who rebuilds ruined cities. He is the God who breathes life into dry bones. And he is the God who does not accept loss as the final word over your life. What man declares dead, he declares sleeping. What the world discards, he redeems. What time erodes, he revives. And even now, even after all this time, even in the quiet ache you barely speak aloud, he is already moving toward the ashes, with oil in his hands, with robes of praise to clothe your mourning, with a future that is not a cheap copy of the past, but something altogether new, something that carries the weight of glory shaped through the very sorrow you feared would bury you. He will restore the joy. He will restore the purpose. He will restore the song you used to sing before grief silenced your melody, not just externally, not just in circumstances, but in the depths of who you are, in the inner rooms of your soul, where the pain first settled, and the lie first took root, that said, it will never be whole again, because with God, nothing is too far gone, nothing is too broken, nothing is wasted. He weaves even the tears into beauty. He carves even the scars into testimony. He takes what the enemy meant for harm, and not only diffuses its power, but uses it to anchor you in grace and dress you in the radiance of redemption. And when he restores, he does not simply replace what was lost. He multiplies. He deepens. He gives you double for your trouble, beauty for your ashes, praise instead of despair. And the end is not a return to what once was, but a resurrection into something fuller than you ever could have built on your own. So do not believe the voice that says it's too late. Do not agree with the fear that says, restoration is for others, not for you. Do not let the silence of delay convince you that heaven has forgotten. He remembers. He keeps record of what you released, what you grieved, what you let go of in obedience. He keeps record of what cost you peace and what cost you dreams. And he is not finished until all things are made new, not some things, not partial pieces, not a fraction of your story, but all things. And all things includes the chapter you closed while weeping. It includes the desire you buried out of survival. It includes the joy you thought you'd never feel again. So tonight, dare to hope, dare to breathe again without bracing for more loss. Dare to believe that the gardener has not abandoned your feet. The winter was real, yes, but so is the spring. The loss was real, but so is the restoration. And the one who promised to finish what he began will also restore what you never thought you'd see again, in ways you did not expect, through paths you could not plan, by the power of a love that always sees, always remembers, and always returns to redeem. Before the first light of dawn kisses the edge of your window, before the sound of morning stirs your mind awake, before you rise to face whatever waits on the other side of the day, before you even open your eyes, you are already held, not figuratively, not poetically, but truly, literally, eternally wrapped in the presence of a God who neither slumbers nor sleeps, who surrounds you not with a concept, but with himself, who binds your breath to his spirit, who walks through your every moment, not above you or beside you alone, but within you, closer than your skin, steadier than your heartbeat, deeper than your thoughts, and infinitely more present than the fears that try to rise before you do. You are held in your sleep, not because you kept watch, but because he never stopped. You are held in your weakness, not because you stayed strong, but because he stayed near. You are held in the questions that still remain unanswered, in the prayers that still linger without a visible reply, in the hopes you still carry even when you're afraid to believe again. And none of that holding depends on you holding back. For you are not upheld by your consistency. You are not secured by your confidence. You are not anchored by your clarity. You are anchored by him, the one who is unchanging, unshifting, unmoved by storm or shadow or struggle. The one whose hands are scarred not by accident but by choice, because love compelled him to become your refuge, your ransom, your resting place. And there is no part of you, no anxious thought, no lingering sin, no aching wound, that he does not see and still choose to carry. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are not too far behind. You are already found, already forgiven, already restored, already held. There is no future you need to build before you're safe. There is no version of yourself you need to achieve before you're accepted. There is no performance you need to deliver before you're loved, because the arms that carry you now are not waiting for you to become someone else. They are holding who you are, in this moment, in this breath, in this very heartbeat, with no hesitation, no conditions, no risk of letting go. Even in your doubt, he holds you. Even in your wandering, he holds you. Even in your silence, your surrender, your sorrow, your slipping, he holds you. And when the world around you feels fragile and the noise grows loud, and the pace of life threatens to pull you apart, remember, you are not holding on to God more than he is holding on to you. You do not need to cling in desperation. You need only to rest in truth. For the truth is this: you are not standing alone. You are not rising alone. You are not breathing alone. You are being carried. You are being covered. You are being kept. He has hemmed you in behind and before. He has set his spirit within you. He has written your name on his hands. And the love with which he holds you now will not weaken with time. It will not diminish with struggle. It will not run out when the night is long. It will remain steadfast, faithful, eternal. So tonight, let go, not because you are careless, but because you are cared for. Release what you were never meant to carry alone. Rest in what has always been true. You are already held, and you always will.